Hi everyone, I'm Leo from Susan's family. Today, I'm going to show you the Papa pillow, the Red Panda edition. This pillow is divided into the head, body, hands and feet, tail, facial features and accessories. We will make these parts in order. The pattern for this toy is presented in chart form. Let's take a look at the chart. In the chart, our plus number indicates the round number. The increases and decreases explanation column shows the stitch techniques needed for crocheting this particular round, including any increases or decreases in stitches. The total stitches column indicates the total number of stitches after completing all the stitches for that round. This is the total stitches count after the entire round is completely crocheted. When crocheting in rounds without special instructions, follow the standard method. Each round starts with a standing stitch and ends with a slip stitch. Let's start by learning how to crochet the head. Begin with a chain stitch, lock stitch. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. For convenience in watching, I will demonstrate using other yarn options here. The colors are random. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. Now, let's show the demonstration. We will crochet the first round of the head. Let's start with a beginning chain. The starting chain is 5ch, which means we use the foundation chain, lock stitch, method. Chain 5 stitches. Don't make it too tight. The beginning chain is complete. Next, we'll work on the first round. Instructions, -2, 3x, w, 2x, v. -2 means start crocheting from the second to last chain stitch. The number before x indicates how many single crochets to make, so you crochet that many single crochets. 3x here means you will crochet 3 single crochets. Pick up the mountain side of the second chain from the hook. Crochet 1 single crochet. Move forward and pick up the next mountain side. Work 2 single crochets correspondingly. W means place 3 stitches into 1 single crochet. Pick up the last mountain side. Crochet 3 single crochets in the same position. After crocheting 3 stitches in 1 single crochet, it's done. Pick up the stitch of the next chain. Work 2 single crochets correspondingly. Pick up the stitch of the next chain. Crochet 2 single crochets. After crocheting 1 single crochet increase, it's done. There are a total of 10 stitches in this round. The total number of stitches for each round is marked in the corresponding table. I won't explain it further later on. Pick up the first single crochet stitch. Finish with a slip stitch and pull tight. The slip stitch is not indicated in the form. In reality, when crocheting in rounds, always finish by joining with a slip stitch and tighten. Tightening the slip stitch can prevent extra stitches. Check the stitch count. The first round is complete. Move on to the second round. Make 1 beginning chain. This beginning chain is not indicated in the form. In practice, when crocheting in rounds, you need to make a beginning chain at the start of each round. The beginning chain does not count as a stitch, then make 1 single crochet increase. Two single crochets. Three single crochet increases. 2 single crochets. Two single crochet increases. After completing, on the first stitch, make 1 slip stitch and pull tight. Check the stitch count. After finishing the increase rounds, you need to check the number of stitches. I won't repeat this in later steps. The second round is complete. Continue with the third round. Work 1 chain. Crochet 1 single crochet. Make 1 single crochet increase. Two single crochets. Then, x, v, times 3. The parentheses here indicate a pattern repeat. X few indicates the number of times to repeat the pattern. Crochet 1 single crochet. 1 single crochet increase. This completes one group within the parentheses. Repeat 2 more times. Continue with 2 single crochets. One single crochet and 1 single crochet increase in the parentheses. Work it twice. After crocheting, join with a slip stitch on the first stitch and tighten. The third round is complete. You can take a look now. The texture on the right side of the fabric is clear. The texture on the wrong side is blurry. All subsequent work will be done on the right side. From the 4th to the 17th round in the table below, the stitch techniques used have all been demonstrated in detail before. Everyone can just follow the chart to crochet. Let me explain here. In the table, even means to crochet 1 stitch to another with the corresponding stitch techniques. After crocheting, the stitch count will be the same as the previous round. Moving forward, based on the methods learned earlier, refer to the table and finish these rounds on your own. I won't continue demonstrating. Up to this point, rounds 4 through 17 are completed. Next, work round 18. Crochet 47 single crochets forward. Then crochet the stitches in the parentheses. 1 single crochet. Next, crochet 1 invisible single crochet decrease. All decreases for the main part are worked as invisible decreases. Pick up the front loops of the 2 stitches on the left side sequentially. Pull through a loop. Yarn over and pull through. 1 invisible single crochet decrease is now completed. Crochet 1 single crochet forward. The 3 stitches in the parentheses are now finished. Continue crocheting based on the pattern chart all the way to the end. After finishing, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Round 18 is now completed. Move on to crochet the remaining rounds. All the stitch techniques used here have been demonstrated in detail before. Let me emphasize this point. After completing the decrease round, you need to check the stitch count. Then proceed according to the method you've learned earlier. Refer to the table for guidance. Crochet all the way to the end of the final round. Watch me demonstrate the ending process with a sample swatch. Now we've reached the end of the last round. Join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Crochet 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a 5 cm yarn tail before cutting the yarn. Hide the yarn tail on the wrong side. That concludes the explanation for the remaining rounds. At the same time, the section for the head is now complete. Let's move on to learn about the body. Start with a foundation chain. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Now, let's move on to crochet rounds 1 through 18 next. No new stitch techniques are used. Refer to the table. Complete these rounds on your own. I will not continue demonstrating from here. Up to this point, rounds 1 through 18 are completed. Proceed to crochet round 19. Watch me demonstrate with a sample swatch. Work all stitches into the back loops only. Each stitch has 2 strands of yarn. The strand at the back is the back loop. Crochet 1 chain for the turning chain. Pick up the back loop and work a single crochet. Follow the pattern chart to work the required number of single crochets. After completing, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Round 19 is now complete. Next, start crocheting rounds 20 through 29. There's no new stitch technique used here. Let me emphasize this point. After completing the rounds with decreases, remember to check the stitch count. In some sections, you will work several rounds evenly without increasing or decreasing. After finishing, you need to check the round numbers. Everyone can follow the methods we learned earlier and refer to the chart. Complete these rounds on your own. I won't demonstrate further. Up to this point, rounds 20 through 29 are completed. Move on to round 30. Carry the yarn across to the 22nd stitch from the end of our 2-9. Handle the carrying yarn technique. Enlarge the loop on the hook. Thread through the yarn ball. Gently pull to tighten the loop. Count backward. The 22nd stitch from the end. Pick up the 22nd stitch. Pull the yarn through. Carrying the yarn is completed. Don't pull the yarn too tight. Work 1 chain. Crochet 1 single crochet in the same stitch. Work 31 single crochets moving forward. For the next 2 or 3 stitches, press down on the carried yarn. Leave it alone afterward. Crochet 12 chains. K stands for skipping stitches. The number after K indicates how many stitches to skip. Skip 10 stitches. Work 32 single crochets moving forward. Join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Starting from this round, the starting position has changed. This strand of carried yarn on the wrong side, trim it off. Keep in mind that the total stitch count for this round does not include the single crochets here. Complete the 30th round. Move on to the 31st round. Work 1 chain. Work 30 single crochets moving forward. Skip 2 stitches. Work 15 chains. Skip 2 stitches. Work 30 single crochets moving forward. Let me explain here. The skipped stitches refer to the single crochets from the previous round. The chains in this section and the single crochets from earlier rounds are not counted as part of the skipped stitches. Crochet according to the pattern chart until the end. Join with a slip stitch on the first single crochet. The 31st round is now completed. Next, start crocheting rounds 32 through 42. No new stitches or techniques are used. Please pay attention to the following. After completing the final round with a slip stitch, you need to crochet 1 chain stitch to secure, and leave a 100 cm yarn tail for sewing. Everyone can refer to the method we learned earlier and check the chart provided. Complete these rounds on your own. I won't continue demonstrating here. Up to this point, rounds 32 through 42 are completed. Now move on to round 43. Make sure the ending side is facing you. Start from any front loop closest to the ending point. Make a slip knit to begin. Insert your hook into the front loop, and pull it through the slip knit. Chain 3 as the beginning chain. Count the beginning chain as 1 stitch. Move forward, inserting your hook into each front loop, and work double crochets evenly. Follow the chart until the end. Pick up both strands of the third chain from the beginning chain. Work 1 slip stitch. Crochet 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a 5 cm yarn tail, then cut the yarn. Gently pull to tighten. Hide the yarn tail on the wrong side. Round 43 is now complete. That concludes the remaining rounds up to this point. Next, we will begin connecting the body and head. Please watch as I demonstrate with a sample swatch. This is the slip stitch point of the head. This side is where the facial features will be placed. Make sure the side for the facial features is facing towards you. Head on the left, body on the right. We'll connect them this way. First, find the alignment points. On the head, count back 3 stitches from the slip stitch position. Place a marker on the third stitch. Divide the number of stitches in this round into 2 equal parts. Place another marker. Move the first marker up 5 rounds along the same column. The markers for the head are now set. The ending point of the body counts as 1 marker. At the empty single crochet stitch here, make a halfway division mark. The body markers are now set. Check if the carrying yarn inside the head and body has been cut. If not, you need to cut it. Stuff both the head and body with cotton stuffing until they are firmly stuffed, and the cotton won't easily fall out. Align the marker moved up 5 rounds with the halfway division marker of the single crochets here. Secure it temporarily with scrap yarn. This way, the pieces won't slip when sewing. Remove the stitch markers. Align the markers on the head and body. Thread the yarn tail into the sewing needle. Evenly sew the head and body together. Remove the stitch markers. Slightly press inward. Find the position for sewing. Start here and move up 1 round in height. Pay attention to tightening the yarn. The seam should be a bit tighter. Follow this method. Sew forward. When you reach where the waste yarn is fixed, remove the waste yarn first. Continue sewing forward. Let's take a look. There's a round difference between the two markers. Slowly sew upwards. Proceed with sewing upward gradually. The rounds gradually increase as you go up. On this side, it's the exact opposite. The rounds slowly decrease. Continue sewing forward. There's still a 10 cm opening left. You can continue to stuff in more cotton stuffing. This will make the head and body firmer. Especially the area where the facial features will be placed. Make sure it's nice and firm. Continue sewing forward. Tidy it up. Sew evenly. Finally, sew this part stitch by stitch. Tie a knot and secure it. Hide the yarn tail inside. cut the yarn. Up to this point, connecting the body and head is complete. At the same time, the body is also finished. Next, we'll learn about the hands, both left and right. Start with a magic ring and crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Below, watch me demonstrate with a swatch. Next, we'll start crocheting the hands. Let's start by casting on. Then move on to our 1. Work 1 chain. Insert into the center loop, and work 6 single crochets. After completing, tighten the magic ring. Slip stitch into the first stitch. The first round is complete. No new stitches are used in the remaining rounds. Pay attention to, after crocheting rounds with increases or decreases, check the number of stitches. Stuff cotton while crocheting. Follow the pattern chart until there's 1 round left, until you reach the final round. Work 1 chain. Then crochet the final round. Slip stitch into the first stitch. Crochet 1 chain to secure. Leave a 30 cm yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Thread the yarn tail into a sewing needle. Pick up the front loops one by one. Pull tight. Pick up a few more stitches ahead. Use the remaining yarn tail for sewing together. One hand is now completed. Next, start connecting the hand. Place the hand and body flat on the table. The starting side of the hand should face forward. Count 3 rounds down from the back. The position directly below is where the hand ends. The slip stitch position faces inward. Thread the yarn tail into a sewing needle. Bring the yarn back to the slip stitch location. Connect the hand to the body. Secure it in place first. Remove the stitch marker. Connecting 4 to 5 rounds in height will be sufficient. Let's also connect one stitch here. Tie a knot to secure it. Weave in the ends. The hand is now connected to the body. Everyone can use the same method to finish and connect the other hand. That concludes the hands section. Next, we'll learn about the feet, including the main part and the paw pads. The paw pads include the large pad and the small pads. For the main part and the large pad, start with a magic ring and crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Below, watch me demonstrate with a sample swatch. Next, we'll begin crocheting the main part of the foot. Rounds 1 through 5 do not involve any new stitches. Everyone can complete them according to the chart. Then move on to round 6. Carry the yarn to the 4th to last stitch of our 5. Start by carrying the yarn. Bring the yarn to the 4th to last stitch. You need to crochet into the back loop only. Pick up the back loop of the 4th stitch, and pull the yarn through. Work 1 chain. Crochet 1 single crochet in the same position. Move forward and pick up the back loop. Work 7 single crochets, corresponding 1 by 1. Crochet 10 chains. Then it's the 6th to last stitch of our 5. That means count 6 stitches backward from the slip stitch point. This can be easy to miscount. We can count this way. The first time, it's the 4th to last stitch. This time, it's the 6th to last stitch. That means you just need to count back 2 more stitches from the first time. So start from the stitch next to the first single crochet of the previous round. Count backward 2 stitches. That will be the starting position for this round. Pick up the half loop, yarn over, and pull through. Work 1 single crochet. Pick up the next back loop. Work 1 single crochet. Then continue with regular single crochets. Pick up the stitches in sequence and work 8 single crochets correspondingly. Pick up the back loops and work 2 single crochets correspondingly. Crochet 15 chain stitches. Now start counting backward for the stitches again. Everyone, follow the method you've learned. Complete round 6. Pay attention to counting the stitches correctly when counting backward. Up to this point, round 6 is finished. Move on to the remaining rounds. No new techniques or stitch patterns were used. Let me explain here. After completing round 6, finish crocheting round 7. Cut the carrying yarn in the middle position. There are 2 starting points for round 14, one for each leg. Use the first starting point to crochet the first leg. Then complete the remaining part. Use the second starting point to crochet the second leg. Since the starting points are different, the direction of the feet will also be different when crocheted. After finishing, you'll get a symmetrical shape like this. Leave a 50 cm tail after completing it. Break the yarn and set aside for later use. That concludes the main part of the foot. Next, we'll start crocheting the large paw pad. Everyone can follow the chart. To complete the paw pad, leave a 20 cm tail to sew with. Attach it to the center of the bottom of the main body. Use the wrong side of the crocheted piece as the right side. Keep the yarn tail inside. Tie a knot to secure. Weave in the ends. The large paw pad is now sewn on. That's all for the large paw pad. Next, we'll start embroidering the small paw pads. Fold the foot in half. This is the front of the foot. The small paw pads will be embroidered here. Space them apart by 2 stitches. Tuck inside and secure. Bring it out. The small paw pad embroidery is done. That's all for the paw pads. Next, we'll start connecting the feet. Stuff the cotton filling into the foot. Don't stuff it too full for now, it's better for sewing. After sewing it up almost completely, stuff it until it's firm. Divide the single crochets here into 2 equal parts. Mark it. Find the center of the bottom of the body and make a mark. Count out 5 stitches. Mark the 5th stitch. Align the mark of the 5th stitch with the 2-part mark. Secure it with scrap yarn. Keep the leg flat against the body. Start sewing from here. Align the positions and start sewing. Sew until you reach the scrap yarn connection point. Remove the scrap yarn first, then sew. There's the last 5 centimeters of the opening left. Continue stuffing with cotton. Continue sewing. Tie off and secure at the end. Bring the yarn to the wrong side. Weave in the ends. The leg is now connected to the body. Everyone can follow the same method to finish the other leg. That concludes the section on legs. Next, we will learn how to make the tail. Cast on with a magic ring and crochet in rounds counterclockwise. No new stitches or techniques were used here. Let me clarify this part. Pay attention to the color scheme, and check the stitch count for increase and decrease rounds. Finish with 1 last slip stitch. Then crochet 1 chain stitch to secure. Break the yarn and weave in the ends. You can stuff the cotton stuffing while crocheting. Everyone can now complete the tail using the methods you've learned. That completes the tail. Now we'll start joining the tail. Fold the tail in half. The slip stitch point is at the center of the wrong side. Join the tail at the center of the back. At the position between the first and second rounds, below this circle of double crochets, thread a 30 cm long sewing thread through the needle. Secure the sewing thread on the right side of the tail's wrong side. Align the tail with the body. Connect one stitch to one stitch. Pick up 2 stitches. Join the tail in this manner. Tie off and secure at the end, and hide the yarn tail on the wrong side. That concludes the tail section. Next, let's learn about the facial features, including the ears, stripes, mouth, nose, eyes, eyebrows and blush. Now, let's show. Now start crocheting the outer ear. Begin with a magic ring and crochet in rounds. Everyone completes the 2 outer ears based on the learned method. Finish both outer ears using the method you've learned. Let me clarify something here. Leave a 40 cm yarn tail at the end for sewing. Both sides of the outer ear can be used as the right side. Either side of the outer ear can serve as the front. That concludes the explanation of the outer ear. Now let's start crocheting the inner ear. Begin with a foundation chain, and work back and forth. Start with 2 chain stitches. The foundation chain is complete. Move on to the first row. Count back 2 chain stitches. Pick up the stitch from the back loop, and work 1 single crochet. The first row is done. Now proceed to the second row. Work 1 chain stitch. Turn indicates to turn the piece counterclockwise. Crochet 1 single crochet increase. The second row is completed. Crochet based on the pattern chart up to the 6th row. Work 1 chain stitch. Turn the work over. Crochet 4 single crochets moving forward. Work 1 single crochet with 3 stitches in 1 stitch. Continue crocheting along the row. Pick up the stitch technique from the edge. Crochet 5 single crochets. Secure with a chain stitch. Leave a 30 cm yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Gently tighten. Both sides of the inner ear can be used as the right side. Everyone can complete the other inner ear using the same method. Up to this point, the inner ear has been covered. Meanwhile, both the outer and inner ears have been explained. Next, we'll start connecting the outer and inner ears. The pointed sides of the outer and inner ears should face the same direction. Leave space below the outer ear for one round of single crochet height. Keep the remaining two sides at an equal distance. Thread the needle. Connect the outer ear to the inner ear. Tie a knot and secure it in place. Weave in the yarn tails. Up to this point, connecting the outer and inner ears has been covered. Next, we'll connect the ears to the head. Watch me demonstrate with a small sample. There's no need to stuff the outer ear with cotton stuffing. Make a mark first. This is the horizontal line at the starting position of the head. Count down 8 rounds. This is the vertical column of the slip stitch point. Count 2 stitches to the left from the slip stitch point. Make a mark at this crossing point. Continue counting down 12 rounds. Stay on the same vertical column. Move 1 stitch to the left and make a mark. Secure both ends of the ear in place against the marks. On this side, remove the stitch marker by unfastening the waste yarn. Thread the yarn tail into a sewing needle. Start sewing from here. The edge of the ear is relatively long. Let it bend towards the back. Attach the ear to the head. Unfasten and remove the waste yarn. Continue sewing the other side. Tie off and secure the knot. Hide the yarn tail. Sew up the other side on your own. Pay attention when connecting the other ear. After finding the symmetrical position, move up 2 rounds in height before connecting. Everyone, based on the methods you've learned, connect the other ear properly. Up to this point, the connection of the ears and head is complete, and that concludes the section on the ears. Next, we'll crochet stripes. We have stripe 1 and stripe 2. Let's start with stripe 1. Foundation chain 11 stitches. Count back 4 chain stitches. Pick up the inside loop of the 4th chain from the end. Work 1/2 double crochet. Work 2 half double crochets in the same loop. Complete 1/2 double crochet increase. Crochet based on the pattern chart to the end. Work 2 chains. Pick up the inside loop of the first chain, and work 1 slip stitch. Work 1 chain to secure. Leave a 30 cm yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Hide this yarn tail on the wrong side. Everyone follow the same method. To finish the remaining parts of stripe 1 and stripe 2, pay attention to the number of foundation chains for stripe 2. Make sure to leave a 30 cm yarn tail at the end. That concludes the stripe section. Next, we'll crochet the mouth part. No new stitches or techniques were used. After completing the crocheting, leave a 50 cm yarn tail, and cut the yarn. Everyone finish it using the methods you've learned. That concludes the mouth section up to this point. Next, we'll connect the mouth. Watch me demonstrate with a sample swatch. Count 5 rounds upwards from where the yarn was joined at the neck. The edge of the mouth is between the 5th and 6th rounds. Place the mouth in the center position of the head. This is the side with the half double crochets. The yarn tail is on the right side. Secure it with a stitch marker. Thread the yarn tail into a yarn needle. Whip stitch to sew together. Leave a 5 cm opening. Stuff with cotton stuffing to make the mouth protrude. Continue sewing the seam closed. Weave in the ends to hide the yarn tail. That concludes connecting the mouth section. Next, we'll connect the right side stripe. Place the shorter stripe one right next to the mouth. Connect it to the head. Split and take 4 strands to join them together. Wrap around and connect for 1 round. Tie a knot to secure it in place. Weave in the ends to hide the yarn tail. Stripe 1 is now connected. Place stripe 2 right next to stripe 1. Use the same method to connect it. When connecting stripe 1 and stripe 2, pay attention. Make sure its top doesn't go above the height of the mouth, because this is where you will embroider the eyes. That's all for connecting the right side stripes. Everyone can use the same method to connect the left side stripes properly. Up to this point, we've covered the mouth. Next, we'll make the nose. Thread the 4 strands of a 60 cm piece of yarn into a sewing needle. Insert the needle close to the center position of the mouth. Draw through 1 round below the center of the mouth and pull out the needle. Leave more than 5 centimeters of yarn tail. The upper part of the nose spans a width of 4 stitches. Start wrapping the yarn. Embroider the bottom edge of the nose. Don't pull it too tight. The distance between the 2 points at the bottom edge spans a width of 4 stitches. With a height of 1.5 stitches. Bring the thread out. Continue wrapping the yarn to make the nose puff up. Pull the thread back out from the original entry point. Tie a knot. Push the knot in to hide it. Use glue to secure the bottom edge of the nose. Make it slightly bent. The nose is done. Next, make the eyes. Start by tightening the eye socket. The center of the eye socket is 1 round above the nose. It's a distance of 3 centimeters from the center of the nose. The distance between these 2 points is 6 centimeters. After tightening, it should be 2.5 centimeters from the center of the nose. Insert from a hole near the center of the eye socket. Exit with a single crochet at the center of the eye socket. Leave more than 5 centimeters of yarn tail. Insert from the hole on the upper right, and exit on the lower left. Wrap around the single crochet. Insert from the hole on the upper right. Bring the yarn to the center of the eye socket on the other side. Adjust the tension to shape the eye socket. The depth of the eye socket can be adjusted according to your preference. Draw the yarn through from the entry point. The eye socket has sunken in. Tie a knot here to secure it. Hide the knot inside. The eye socket is now completed. Next, embroider the eyes. The eyes are positioned 1 round above the nose. They are 3 single crochets wide and 1 single crochet high. The size of the eyes can also be adjusted according to your preference. Split a 30 centimeter length of yarn into 4 strands and thread it into a sewing needle. Insert through a hole near the eye socket. Exit at the hole above the center of the eye socket. Leave more than 5 centimeters of yarn tail on the outside, span across 2 single crochets, insert at the bottom right corner's hole. Exit at the hole above the center of the eye socket. Insert at the hole of the bottom right corner. Count 3 stitches horizontally, exit from the hole. Don't pull the yarn too tight. Bring the thread out from the middle of the strand. Then bring it back to the entry point. Tie a knot and hide the knot. One eye is now done. Everyone can use the same method to complete the other eye. Pay attention to the width and height of the eyes. The 2 eyes need to be symmetrical. Up to this point, we've finished the eyes. Next, embroider the eyebrows. The eyebrows start at the 5th round above the nose. Span 3 stitches in width and 1 round in height. The closest 2 points are 6 stitches apart. Please watch me demonstrate. Let's start with the right eyebrow. Thread a 30 centimeter long yarn through the sewing needle. Insert it into the hole near the eyebrow. Exit from the hole at the lower left corner of the eyebrow. Leave a yarn tail of more than 5 centimeters. Span 3 stitches in width and 1 round in height. Insert into the hole at the upper right corner of the eyebrow. Repeat the process of exiting, inserting, and wrapping the yarn. Continue until the eyebrow is firmly stuffed. Bring the yarn back to the starting point. Tie a knot and hide the knot. The right eyebrow is now embroidered. Everyone can use the same method to complete the left eyebrow. That concludes the section on eyebrows. Next, we'll start crocheting the blush. No new stitch techniques are used here. Everyone can complete it according to the chart. Pay attention. Leave a 20 centimeter yarn tail for sewing at the end. Then, embroider the decorative elements. Thread a 20 centimeter split strand of 2 threads into the yarn needle. Secure it on the wrong side. Bring the thread to the right side. Embroider 2 short lines. Bring the thread back to the wrong side and secure it. Finish embroidering the blush decoration. Next, start connecting the blush. At the top of the stripe, connect the blush to the stripe. Pay attention to the direction of the diagonal lines. Tie off and secure at the end. Weave in the ends. Everyone, based on the connection method you've learned, connect the two blush pieces together. Up to this point, the explanation of the blush is complete. Next, let's learn how to make accessories, including hats and scarves. Now, let's show. Continue crocheting the hat. Start with a magic ring and crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Everyone, follow the pattern chart to crochet until you have 2 rounds left. Below, start crocheting the 30th round. Join yarn. Leave a 50 cm yarn tail for sewing. Make 3 chain stitches. Turn your work. Pick up the back loops for this round. That is, crochet the half of the stitch that is closer to the right side. Pick up the back loop and work a double crochet. FV means double crochet increase. Pick up the same back loop and work 2 double crochets. Complete the double crochet increase. Follow the pattern chart until the end. Skip the repetitive section. Check the stitch count. Pick up both strands of the 3rd chain from the beginning chain. Work 1 slip stitch. The 30th round is complete. Move on to the 31st round. Make 3 chain stitches. Yarn over, pick up the stitch, and pull the yarn through. Yarn over and pull the yarn through 2 loops. Complete an incomplete double crochet. Pick up the next stitch and work another incomplete double crochet. Yarn over and pull the yarn through all loops. Complete 1 double crochet decrease. Crochet based on the pattern chart to the end. Check the stitch count. Pick up both strands of the 3rd chain from the beginning chain. Work 1 slip stitch. Crochet 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a 40 cm yarn tail for sewing the hat shape. The 31st round is complete. Next, start sewing the hat into shape. Make a mark on the 25th round. Fold up the last 2 rounds. Connect stitch by stitch with the 25th round. Weave in the ends. That concludes the explanation of sewing the hat shape. Next, we will attach the hat. Here, I will only demonstrate the technique. The small sample is not for reference. Now, let's show. Start by stuffing with cotton stuffing. It doesn't need to be too firmly stuffed. Check if it can fold. The goal is to make sure it folds easily. Place the hat at the center of the head. Pick up the front loop on the hat here. Pick up 1 to 2 threads on the head part. Connect them evenly. Tie off and secure. Weave in the ends. That concludes connecting the hat and the head. Next, let's start shaping the hat by folding it. Fold the hat toward one side of the body. The specific direction doesn't matter. Sew and secure it in place. Weave in the ends. That concludes the folding shape of the hat. Now, let's attach the pom-pom. Apply a dot of glue. Stick the pom-pom on the top of the hat. Press it for a while to secure. The pom-pom is now securely attached. That concludes the hat section. Next, we'll move on to crocheting the scarf. Start with a chain stitch, and work back and forth. No new stitches or techniques are used here. Let me clarify something here. Make sure your beginning chain isn't too tight. After casting on the required number of stitches, try it around your neck. It should fit to encircle your neck once. You can adjust the number of stitches yourself. Finally, crochet 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a 5 cm yarn tail, and hide it well. Everyone, Follow the chart to complete the scarf. Up to this point, the crocheting of the scarf has been fully explained. Next, we will connect the scarf. Here, I will only demonstrate the method. The sample swatch is not for reference. Now, let's show. Thread an 80 cm length of yarn through the sewing needle. Secure it at the center on the wrong side. Slip the scarf over your neck. Hold it in place with a stitch marker. Sew the scarf together along the curve around your neck. Where the scarf overlaps, you can pick up both layers to sew them together. Stop at the front center. This means you've connected half of it. If you're connecting a full circle, use a longer sewing thread. Adjust according to your preference. Tie off and secure. Weave in the ends. That's it for connecting the scarf. Up to this point, we've finished the scarf. At the same time, the entire pillow process is also complete. If you have any unclear points during the crocheting process, don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get support. Susan's Family. Needle, thread, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.